Hi Tarot friends, it's Jade here with Tarot Your Truth. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are here for day five of the hashtag 31 days of tarot from Ethany Dawn. And just so that you're not staring at nothing while I talk, I'm going to do double duty here, and I'm going to do a walkthrough of the new deck that I just got. I talked about this in my first video, my day one video, and this is Madame Endora's fortune cards. And so we're kind of going to do both things. So the prompt for today, so this is the, by the way, this, let me just introduce this and then I'll talk over the cards. So this is artwork by Christine Philippak. The deck is by, hopefully that can focus, Monolith Graphics in Cleveland, Ohio. And the back says, the fastest and easiest way to discover what the future holds. This original deck of fortune-telling cards offers insightful advice concerning matters of love, money, health, and general prosperity. The lush artwork is based on old world myth and lore and blends Egyptian, Celtic, and fantasy themes in an elegant Art Nouveau style. Each card features its own unique fortune. For a quick reading, and an easy-to-use instruction booklet is included to provide detailed definitions as well as the various divinatory spreads. This is published by Monolith Graphics, and it is a 2003 copy. So the book that it's referring to that comes with it is this little white book here. It's got about 30 pages or so, just under 30 pages. And it does, I did show this in my first video. It basically goes through the different types of cards. So there are the Royal Court, the Realm of Fable, which includes things like the Green Man, the Golem, Hindrance, Medusa, the Satire, Seduction, Serendipity, the Siren, the Sphinx, and the Spirit, the Bestiary cards, so beasts, obviously, and the Treasury, so that includes the Caduceus, the Chalice, the Dagger, the Hand of Fate, and so on. There are element cards as well, and finally there are there's some instructions on how to use these cards and some spreads. Okay, so you don't get much for each card. You get, 3 or 4 lines. I did, there is a, I don't have it actually right here, but I did show it in my first video. There is a 300-page book that accompanies this as well. You can buy it separately, so I did. And it has an amazing array of information, which includes things like, basically divining with every type, not just with these cards, but with every type of thing you can imagine, including I Ching, bones. Anyway, you can have a look at the first video if you're interested in seeing what that looks like. Okay, here is the backs, and I think these are beautiful backs. I love it. I did edge them in black. Okay, so I'm just going to, I don't think there is any kind of order actually to these cards. So I am just going to talk about the day 5 prompt as I go through these. Okay, so I won't comment too much on the cards. If you have any questions about this deck, feel free to leave a comment down below, and I'd be happy to talk more about it another time. So the day 5 prompt was, what has the tarot taught me in this past decade, so 2010 to 2019? So for me, this question is really going to be phrased as, what has the tarot taught me in 2019? Because April of 2019 was really my first real foray into tarot. Hopefully you can see that whole thing. There we go. Okay. The first thing that comes to mind to me is the importance of self-care. So when we talk about self-care, we talk about mental, spiritual, and physical health. So, as I said, I came to tarot only about 9 months ago. And I was, well, let's just say my inner child was in rough shape. Unbelievably hurt. I was mentally, physically, and spiritually exhausted because of various things that had happened in my life. Let down and even betrayed by people who supposedly cared about me. I had health problems that weren't being helped at all by any of those things that had happened. And on top of it all, I grew up being taught that what I thought or what I needed was not important. I sort of had to put myself secondary, I guess. Just always, try to keep the peace. Make sure other people are happy. You can deal with your crap later. And so I had to, I had to ignore my own hurts in order to take care of others. And you can do that for a while when it's important, but it does in the end take a big toll on you. And it did culminate in a pretty big disaster in my life in 2018. The tarot really helped me to heal myself on all fronts. Obviously not the physical, but it helped me to be able to recognize that boundaries are important, self-care is important, and I didn't need to apologize for either. So, through shadow work that I did, I started to be able to work through all of that trauma that I'd experienced, or a good deal of it. Let's not say all of it. But yeah, all the things that sort of had hurt me as a child and that still impacted me. I was able to start working through that and start healing that and start being able to move forward with better boundaries in place and with a much more protected sense of self. So I am, I'm nowhere near finished with that, but I'm leap years ahead of where I was. The tarot also taught me through that process how to better go inward, how to meditate, because that was something that I wasn't able to do before. How to access my own inner wisdom and to trust my instincts. That was a pretty big thing, I would say, as well, because that was something that, again, wasn't something that I was able to do or trusted, I guess. And so through the tarot, I learned to trust myself, trust my instincts, and let them guide me. I like this card a lot, actually, the Harlequin. I guess secondary, so those are just some really important things that I have learned. Obviously, I'm still a newbie on this journey, but I am very much enjoying it, and I'm only getting more and more sucked in as as the days go by, and as I continue working with it. I am looking forward to learning a whole lot more and going more in depth this year. I've got a lot of decks. This year is going to be a depth year as well, and I'm hoping that the tarot will help me through that as well, because FOMO is a big thing, Anyway, I've probably nattered on for long enough. We're almost to the end of the deck here. The Maiden. I do like how they've got the title and then little key phrase at the bottom. I haven't used this deck at all yet, other than just look through the cards, this is a deck that I'm going to be pulling out, I think in February. I have other plans for January, and I'm really going to try to not split my focus too much, and to actually just specifically focus on a couple of things and just go more in depth with those things. So I think this is coming out in February. I'm going to be studying this with the book, and yeah, we'll go from there. I will do a separate video about my plans, and let's just see how this shuffles. The cards are pretty. They're not the thinnest. They're not the thickest. They're they're not too flimsy. I don't know how many cards there are actually. I wonder if it says in the box. We'll see. So that is the Madame Endora's fortune card. I just want to see how many cards there are, if it actually says. Let's have a look. It does not say. I don't know how many cards there are. There are this many. Anyway, so that is Madame Endora's fortune reading cards. I will come back and report on how I do with them, and I hope you enjoyed this. This was day number 5 prompt, which is what has the tarot taught you this past decade, which for me really has just been the past 9 months. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and we'll see you tomorrow for day 6.